bunch, yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad. It's not too boomy.
What you got in it?
Just some thrift shop pillow.
That one sound good, man. Son.
How you doing,
I'm
baby?
good. How you
Good to
doing,
see
man?
you,
Good
brother.
seeing you.
Yeah, long time.
I know, it's been a minute.
Go! Oh, Lord.
T. Higgins.
The truth has arrived.
Coming up as a kid, like I said, I grew up next door to the Sanctified Church.
Yeah.
And I listened to a lot of that as a kid. And then all of a sudden I had these brass bands passing in front of my door every day with the second line, jazz funerals, you know. So I started hearing some other stuff, you know what I'm saying? Every day of my life growing up in the Sixth Ward was a challenging when it comes down to music, because every day I was learning something new.
Yeah.
I was exposed to, like when I thought I knew what I was doing, I thought I had it.
Yeah,
I would walk around the corner to a gentleman's house by the name of James Black.
Wow.
And he's in there writing some of his biggest hits that he have out here now. And he invited me in, you know, to come. And I told him who I was. I told him I liked drums. And man, he was doing this thing in Five. And at that time, I didn't know nothing about Five.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so he just gave me the sticks and he told me, he said, look, man, play. Just like that. And at that time, he was doing that Magnolia thing. So I started playing I started doing some rock. And he looked at me and said, no, man, what are you playing, you know? And I was like, he said, I said in Five. I looked at him, I said, I don't know nothing about Five. What you mean? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He said, that's it. He said, that's exactly what I mean. He said, can you do that again? I said, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. And he started clapping like that, you know, and I was like, wow. So that day opened me up to a whole other style of playing, because I had grew up playing New Orleans traditional trad music and gospel music. Yeah. I hadn't even really played a rhythm and blues gig before. You know what I'm saying? But that right there just opened me up to let me know that there's more to be played on the instrument. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like you and Hurling, for me, make the connection to that older school of music. And I feel like y'all are like the cats that are closer to the source of what we're trying to get to.
That's exactly
You know what I'm
true.
saying? I feel
That's
like
exactly
you two are
true.
really the two guys that are left that, you know, embodies what it is to be a New Orleans drum.
That's wonderful that you recognize that.
Oh, I
Sam,
mean, it's
because
been-
the fact of the matter is, Hurling's grandfather was a preacher
Right.
that could play great drums.
Right, with Papi, huh?
No, that was his
That's
uncle,
his uncle,
Papi.
right.
The grandfather was Frank Lashley,
Frank.
who played drums like Baby Dies.
Right.
So Hurling was getting it right at home. That
Right.
style
In
of
the
drumming.
kitchen.
In the kitchen with the forks and the spoons.
Gumbo.
Well, to show you how funny things work, because the pastor that was at the church next door to me was just like Hurling's grandpa, could play with his fingers. He played the sticks with his fingers, like, you know, he didn't really like hold them. He like that. He just hold it right in here and play that press roll so sweet. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
You know? And so, you know, I'm watching this, and the women playing the tambourine.
Right.
You know, the women, not men,
Oh, yeah.
women. I mean, playing that tambourine, unbelievable.
Skillful.
You know, really skillful. And the tambourines back then, like I was telling my man, they were so heavy back then, I couldn't even hold them, because I was small, see? And, you know, it took me many years to be able to hold those tambourines, man. And to get that sound out of it. That's why when I play knock, I use a small one so I can kill him.
You slapped the
I try to hit him hard and wish him well.
Yeah, but we mentioned the church thing, you know, the church connection to, like, you know, New Orleans music. But I feel like there is no New Orleans music without that spirit.
Yeah.
Point blank. You know, you get all these cats trying to learn how to play second line. Okay, you could teach it rhythmically, but there's a spiritual element that where we portray and project when
right.
we're playing this. That's why it's so infectious and everybody can really get down to it because it's such a spiritual thing. It's not like you know, 16 note dot, whatever. It's more of a spiritual thing. When you were playing just now, man, it was so spiritual. I was like, that's that thing.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying?
that's
You know
why
it when
I
you
know
see
how
it.
to play it.
It's intangible. It's like the real deal. You can't camouflage that. That's the real deal. And when you play, you got that thing in you, which we're trying to achieve, which we'll probably never achieve because it's a way of life. You know what they say in the 6 ball, you play like you live.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You heard that expression.
That's true.
And
Like
you know, you
live.
came up around a different source of it. You're more connected to it than we could ever be.
With that part of it, you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
So that's the real deal.
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? My name is Jelly, and I'm here with the Big Six Brass Band, one of the baddest bands in the land. We're gonna get it going New Orleans style. Come on. One more time, come on. Well, sometimes I go out by myself and I look across the water and I think of all the things like what you're doing, and in my head I paint a picture. Well, since I've come on home, well, my body's been a mess, and I miss your ginger hair and the way you like to dress. Won't you come on over? Stop making a fool out of me. Why don't you come on over, Valerie? My Valerie. 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 Well, did you have to go to jail? Put your house on up for sale. Did you get a good lawyer? Woo! I hope you didn't get a tan. I hope you find the right woman who will fix it for you. Are you shopping anywhere? Change the color of your hair. Are you busy? But did you have to pay that fine that you've been dodging all the time? Are you dizzy? Well, since I'm coming home, well, my body's been a mess, and I miss your ginger hair and the way you like to dress. Won't you come on over? Stop making a fool out of me. Why don't you come on over, Valerie? My Valerie. 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 Somebody give me some, come on. You're in New Orleans now. Well, since I've come home, well, my body's been a mess, and I miss your ginger hair and the way you like to dress. Won't you come on over? Stop making a fool out of me. Why don't you come on over, Valerie? My Valerie. My Valerie. Yeah, yeah. My Valerie. Break it down, say, won't you come on home? 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 Won't you come on home, baby? Won't you come on home? 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 Yeah, my Valerie.
Tell me about your desires right now. Don't step on losing wires. I'll show you how. My baby, I wish I never made you blue. My children my angels, I'm talking to you. Excuses, but then I just wanna be there for y'all as a friend. Everybody gotta do work on themselves. Just know I love y'all more than anyone else. Tell me about your desires right now. Don't trip on losing wires, I'll show you how. My babes, I wish I never made you blue. My children, my angels, I'm talking to you. One is too many, billions never enough. Don't take the easy road, there's no shortcut. Spirit kingdom, do what we can't do for ourselves. Don't put nothing down without loving everybody else. Tell me about your desires right now. Don't trip on losing wires, I'll show you how. Babes, I wish I never made you blue. My children, my angels, I'm talking to you. Tell me about your desires right now. Don't trip on losing wires, I'll show you how. My babes, I wish I never made you blue. My children, my angels, I'm talking to you.
A lot of people don't know how much you have supported the Indian Nation, starting back with Bo Dallas and Wild Magnolias. You introduced them to the Jazz Fest and making sure there was a presence there. Is it something that you have consciously kind of thought of through the years to make sure that you shed some light on the Indian culture?
It's one of the things that I'm most proud of in my whole life and what I've done, and that's bring the Mardi Gras Indians out. Just before me, in the community, when you heard Mardi Gras Indians were coming, people would take their kids inside and close the door, right? Because that was back in the hatchet days. And it evolved, as culture does, into competing with music and competing with the suits, and not so much, the hatchets, or Brett Timber took a shotgun down to the battlefield. I was hanging out with them, with the Wild Magnolias. Monk was in that group. And I was going to practice. What would happen is Indian practice was in bars. And you'd have the jukebox going. And that would be like the real music, the real songs. And then you'd unplug the jukebox, and then the Indians would go, and then you plug the jukebox back in. And I was like, let's bridge that. Let's get Mardi Gras Indian music on that jukebox. There was one gig at Tulane. I had a little thing I called Get It Together. And one night we had the Wild Magnolias and Willie T. And the Wild Magnolias acoustic. It hadn't done anything with bands, but we were doing stuff. They were playing. Willie heard something, and he got up and went on stage and sat down at the piano and started to create this music that went with what they were doing. And that was like the birth of it. And we went and recorded Honda Wanda, which still comes. Some of the songs, Honda Wanda, Smoke My Peace Pipe.
Smoke my peace pipe, smoke it right. Smoke my peace pipe, smoke it right. Smoke my peace pipe, smoke it right. Smoke my peace pipe, smoke it right.
Every year at carnival time, we get a new suit written by Willie. But I remember as a youth going to Mardi Gras, I think with my parents, on Claiborne Avenue, I saw this big, bright red thing come running across the street, running across the neutral ground. Just huge red thing. And I was like, what is that? That was a Mardi Gras Indian. They're doing songs, Hold 'em Joe, Donkey Want Water, that I have recordings of being sung on a Bahamian dock.
Wow. Wow.
And it's a deep, far-reaching culture. They sing about Angola. See that man on the big white horse? I don't know his name, but they call him Boss. That's Angola music. Now there's a lot of drums in it, but real Mardi Gras Indian music, and the cowbell came in, is all tambourines. And man, when in those days, when you get 6 or 8 tambourines, it's just slamming and going and making these rhythms, fantastic. The beadwork that they're doing now, there's no beadwork in the world. I've been to Africa a bunch of times. There's no beadwork in the world like these men are doing now. It's incredible. So they got the artistic going on, and they got this form of music that's absolutely unique to New Orleans. Absolutely unique. And these things tend to blend together. I was at a parade recently, a second line parade. I think it was an Indian funeral, and they had a brass band. The brass band was playing brass band music, and the Indians came up and they started a song like Pockway or something, and the band fell right in. And now you got, it's like jazz being invented before your face. The brass band is playing with the Indians just like it's natural, right around the song, and it fit together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I would go up to people, would be at an Indian thing, and I'd say, do you know where else this happens? And they look kind of befuddled, and I said, nowhere. Nowhere else does this happen. It's fantastic. You have men that sing these songs, and they just come out of nowhere, and they sing these, like Bo, they sing these beautiful songs that it's a culture they know the words to, and then they sort of go away. That's an amazing, beautiful thing.
We're going to have Bo Dallas Jr. with his Wild Magnolias today with Dumpster Funk.
Ah, cool.
So you probably remember Bo coming up with his daddy, Bo Senior.
I had a reel-to-reel, a big clunky heavy thing, like 69 or whatever it was, and I would carry that out and record stuff, right? And Jules Kahn took me to my first Mardi Gras Indian practice, and that must have been in the late 60s. And it was a White Eagles practice. It was a downtown practice. And I came back, and I heard this one voice that was incredible. This beautiful voice. It just didn't sound like any of the other voices. I was like, who is that? It was Bo Dallas. And he just, stood out. His voice was amazing. He called it the Wild Magnolias Mardi Gras Indian Band, because people needed to know, what it was, all the names. And then Monk was in it, Joseph Pierre Monk Boudreaux, who's the big chief of the Golden Eagles. He was in the group. Now, he was another big chief, but it took the name of the Wild Magnolias. Monk is like a chief of chiefs.
Yes.
The respect that he has. But he has the knowledge of all the old songs and all the old words. I heard a jam not too long ago, you know, because it's younger people now, and they did Corrine Died on the Battlefield. Well, I hadn't heard Corrine Died on the Battlefield in, I don't know, 20 years or more. There was a guy named Black Johnny who lived in the country, and every Mardi Gras he would come to town, and he would sing the songs about Angola and stuff, and Monk was listening to that, and he now has that knowledge, which is really, really valuable. You know, the words, again, like we discussed, getting passed on.
Yeah.
When I first came out, Monk's father, Jumper, was masking with Monk. On Mardi Gras Day, we'd go down and go up the steps to Jumper's place, and he'd have hot dogs and red beans and rice. We always would stop there. Yeah, I remember Jumper, Monk's father. So that, you know, an interesting story, because you asked about Katrina, and we have this foundation, 501c3, that was supporting social aid and pleasure clubs by paying the police, because the cost went up and up and up. You don't want to give them the money to the groups, but by paying the police for the parade, it gave them a lot of money. So after Katrina, we said, we got to help Indians come back. There was only a couple of tribes. And so we started this plume thing, where we'd find out what kind of plumes you wanted, how many pounds it took, which has grown now, huge. But just in the first few, and Monk would organize that, you know, and get it out there. It got to the point that we'd get this huge box of plumes, and it wasn't divided up. You know, because there were 20 tribes, and the chief is getting this, and the queen's getting this. So we'd go in this kind of warehouse part of this place, which was hot, and Monk sent his son to work. And, you know, we were doing the thing, and I asked him, I said, man, what's going on? What are you doing here? He said, my grandfather was an Indian, my father was an Indian. He said, do you think I'm going to be the one to let it go? You know,
right.
Yeah, that's African, honoring the ancestors.
Amen.
Yeah, and that carried on.
Wow. You want to tell us anything about your T-shirt?
Well, it somewhat speaks for itself.
Agreed.
I think that George Porter had to do with these shirts. I had a red one and a black one, and it was at the height of meterdom, you know, and they, because there'd never been a lot of merch with New Orleans bands, but I don't know if they sold it or how it went around, but they came up with it, and I said, oh yeah. It was during a period where that was true.
Well, Quint, this has been amazing, and I hope we can do it again real soon. Support Jazz Fest, support local musicians, New Orleans musicians. That's what you can do. If you want to ask, what can you do? And please support the Jazz and Heritage Foundation, particularly their music education program and some of the other programs. All you need to do is go to their website. There's plenty of opportunity to donate. What a great organization. Quint, one of the most successful promoters in the world. You've done concerts all over the world, including at the White House, and been involved and the leader of the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival, one of the most successful festivals around the world, and you've brought New Orleans to the world. We thank you so much. Please keep doing what you're doing. I know you will, but we are so in debt to your efforts.
I mean,
thank you.
I hope I will. I don't know how to do anything else. But we've established, we have a saying called the festival family, because in our company, let's say 30 people, they average 20 to 25 years together. We have a number of them that have been there 30 years. I mean, if you've been in doing the festival for 10 years, you're a newbie. And so we've grown up together. You know, I'm a figurehead, that's why I'm here. But we have this festival family of people that have been through it for like 25 years at least. And that's why when 9/11 happened, when Katrina happened, now when this happened, you know, they roll with it. It's really hard. Some people are on furlough, you know, but they're all going to make it back to the festival. And that's really what makes the festival. I mean, there's two things that make the festival. The people that put it on and put it there, but the life comes from the people of New Orleans. That's because they are the culture. I mean, otherwise it'd be like the world's greatest sound check, you know?
Yeah.
But they come in, and their relationship with the culture and their reaction to the music. I mean, that's why you get the greatest performances, really, of the artists that play, because of the New Orleans people and the vibe that they have for music and how they, you know, give and give back. So when those two things meet up, it's pretty good.
Amen to that. Amen.
Yeah.
You know, and you and your team have done such a great job, and we talk about passing the torch. Your effort has been that, passing the torch around the world, not just here, but around the world. Thank you very much. Quint, this has been fantastic.
Well, believe me, it's been my pleasure.
Awesome.